Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minion with me thus far this evening is Adam.
Good evening.
We might get joined by an Inquisitor. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was seeing if Quiz was going to be able to jump in at the start or if it was going to be a bit of a later deal. So, gave
Well,
him a
he
couple moments longer.
he is probably leading his forces in his workplace. So
Yep, that's why I was giving him that little bit longer without going, "What the fuck, Inquisitor?" It was just a, "This is why." So, as it is once again a Friday, I'm the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. How are you doing tonight, Adam?
I'm doing all right. We had some snow out here in the city or in the Chicago area.
Had snow
Um,
here as well.
oh yeah, well I'm sure you got a lot more.
Not all that much, a couple inches.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I love snow, so I was happy to get some snow this year because thus far it has been almost nothing. Though it was also slightly obnoxious because got snow over the night, and I had my plasma donation that I do on Friday mornings. So I go out, realize, oh shit, it's been snowing, and have to drive to my plasma donation in the not yet plowed streets, which made that drive a bit more interesting given that I saw like probably 6, 7 cars that completely biffed it on the road.
Oh geez. Well, see that's the main thing. I was telling my boss at work, because he comes from Arizona, so he's like, oh it's snowing, oh it's awesome. Um, and I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool if it stuck, and it actually left an imprint,
Yep,
because at least it looks nice. But out here, we just get it's essentially thick rain,
yep.
and but we also get the fucking tarred fucking drivers that go out there and hit their brakes at the moment's notice, and oh my god, it's so red. It's like, bro, relax. It's the same driving conditions, just a little bit wetter. It's the same as rain.
Mm-hmm.
Just relax.
Yeah.
But
Treat it like rain. You'll do decent. Give yourself perhaps a little bit more. Treat it like it's heavier rain than it is, and you're going to be pretty much good. Because you don't want to treat it exactly like it's the same amount of rain as it is snow, because it will be just a little bit slicker. But you treat it as if it's a heavier rain than it is a snow, and you're going to be good for the most part.
oh yeah, well, but people, and more often than not, I don't know if it might just be like the business work area that I drive around, but I don't know. I've been noticing a lot more people just they're stopped, but then they start doing other shit in their car, and
Yep.
it's like, dude, what the fuck? Can you just drive so we can get the fuck out of here? Like, oh my god.
If you're going to be doing something else, pull over to the side, do it there.
Yeah.
Don't just do it while waiting at a stoplight.
I don't know. Um I don't know where it comes from, but I always like, yo, yeah, I'll get everything packed up before I start driving. And it's like, because I don't want to have to deal with anything. I just want to focus on driving, So I hitch everything up like a Jeep or something like that. Just go
Fair
about
enough.
my business. Um,
Like I said, it becomes a get. If you need to do something, pull off to the side, do what you need to do. Then start driving again. Don't do shit while you're driving. That's just asking for you to wreck.
yeah, yeah, and once they get in a wreck, then all of a sudden it's like, huh, how did I get to this? What was going on? It's like you weren't paying attention. I mean, you're operating a very heavy vehicle. You would
Yep.
think that you would use some discretion, but I guess not. You know.
And cannibalistic, you should know me better than that. I don't sleep during the night. I sleep during the day.
Oh yeah,
It's snowing at night means that I would have the freshest snow. It's when it starts at like noon that the snow, by the time that I wake up, it's going to be fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, we just get mushy snow out here.
Yeah, like I said, we get good snow every so often. This year, it's just been really light, which, light snow that melts before you actually get to enjoy any of it sucks. I want a decently heavy snow. Gives me a good reason to walk in, enjoy my walk through the snow. But I don't want it to be like 4 feet of snow. That sucks to walk in. But give me like a good solid 6 inches of snow. That's good to go. That's perfect walking snow level.
Yeah.
So there's something that I named tonight's stream after that might interest you as well. I'm surprised by the number of people that don't know what actually makes a castle a castle.
Really?
Yeah, there's people that I've encountered recently that think a walled city is a castle.
I mean, you'd have a castle in a walled city.
You could have a castle in a walled city, or you could have no castle in a walled city.
Yeah.
And you can have no walled city anywhere near a castle.
Mm-hmm.
A castle is not a city with walls. A castle is the most basic castle is a fortified keep. And then you can add additional things. So you can have a keep with a nice contained walled bailey around it. That's perfectly reasonable, and it's a beautiful way of building a castle. You can have several keeps that are all connected, and that becomes just a bigger castle. But the base unit of castle is keep.
Yeah, it's essentially like a Pokemon's evolution of a keep.
Yeah.
Mott and Bailey, Fort, keep.
Yeah,
I might
you
have
can
reversed it. But yeah.
add other things to your keep, but the keep is needed in order for it to be a castle. Like I said, just the number of people that I've seen that are trying to say, oh, it's a castle if it's a walled city. No, it's not. In fact, there were cities that were made of castles. Bologna was one of the biggest walled cities that was also a city of castles because at its height it had what, 220 individual castles or something absolutely ridiculous like that.
Where is this at?
Bologna?
Oh, Bologna.
I think it was Bologna had the city of castles with, at its height, 220 individual keeps within the walled city. Because there was a bunch of wealthy merchants that they started having dick measuring competitions by making castles, and they kept on attacking each other. So there were frequent fights within the city between individual castles. And there were instances of, oh, so-and-so really hates so-and-so. They're coming towards our city. They're just going to fuck with that one dude. Open up the gates. This'll be hilarious. Because they hated each other.
Yeah, it tends to be the sentiment around people who build walled structures around themselves, you know.
Yeah, if you end up building massive structures telling everyone else to fuck off, you tend not to like people.
Yeah. It kind of draws in a crowd as well.
Yeah. It's always an interesting sight to see a new castle get thrown up. But like I said, it just
Well,
baffles me
I don't know.
that
I don't think the Mongolians really liked it because wasn't that the method of stopping them from roaming around Eastern Europe? Was eventually they got wise to just building castles and forts and just like, oh shit, the Mongols are coming. Let's everybody get back in here.
yeah, it was build a massive defensive structure that makes it really easy to kill horses. And suddenly, the ridiculous horsemen are far less scary.
Hmm. Well, they couldn't just spring forests on them, you know.
God damn it.
um, yeah, they didn't have the power of the Ents, and damn it, yeah, fucking, I'm still getting chills of Teutonberg. Ugh.
Yeah, the let's just hide in the trees and then fuck everything up that comes between us is always a valid military strategy. As is the ever pleasant, let me just scare the ever living shit out of anyone that even thinks about coming across me, which was the method of Vlad Tepes.
Ooh.
Oh, you want to fight me? Fantastic. How about you meet the last person that decided that they wanted to fight me? What do you mean, meet the last person? Well, he's just over here on this stake.
Yeah.
Never
amongst
mind, I
these
don't want to
walls.
fight you. When you can introduce your current belligerent to your previous belligerent who's still alive with a log up their ass, you end up with a lot less current belligerents. Which is always an effective strategy. Just scare the piss out of everyone that might want to fight you. And suddenly, you have a lot fewer people that want to fight you.
Oh yeah.
Though, like I said, it's just something that it came to my attention, and it's somewhat baffling to me that there's this many people that don't know what various terms mean. They'll hear castle and they'll think a walled city rather than a castle. They'll hear that someone will be tossed out of a group, and rather than thinking that that means, oh, they're no longer part of the group, they'll think, oh, they're going to physically remove me? Yep. Words have meanings.
Well, yes, and honestly, I think a lot of times the words could uh, be misunderstood. Um,
Yeah, words can be misunderstood, but at the
even
same
even with the concept of the castle, you can look at it as opposed to what we would consider a Japanese castle,
but
and
even there they had the central the keep was
similar
a
characteristics.
different the keep was a different form, but it was still a keep.
Yes,
It just wasn't as vertically oriented of a keep. It was kind
spread
of
out.
like a step pyramid castle
Yeah,
where
it's a different setup of how it works, but it still functions and it's in the same way.
yep, and it still meets the criteria of does it have a central fortified defensive structure that is designed for that purpose. It's not just the wall is the castle. No, they still had their central fortified structure, their keep, their holdfast, their the heart of the structure was still there, which makes it so that the definition can still work, but you might go, wait, hold on, if it's a keep, well, this castle doesn't look like it has a keep. Well, keep doesn't necessarily just mean tower. Keep can mean, in the case of the Japanese tower or Japanese castle, it's that large central structure And kind of when you look at a Japanese castle, it's almost like it's a tower inside a tower inside a tower inside a tower, and each outer layer slightly shorter because it's just built up like an onion of towers.
Oh man, onions.
Yeah, they have layers. It sounded better than saying it's an ogre of a castle. That makes
Yeah,
it
that's
sound
true.
like I'm insulting the Japanese.
Or, I mean, ogres are big, strong monster people, right? So kind of goes along what you'd want. Never mind. That yeah, we went off the rails with that
But
one.
if it's an ogre of a castle and it's a Japanese castle, does that mean that it's an oni of a castle?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Since onis are the Japanese analog of an ogre.
Yes, yes.
And
Oni.
Sora, I slightly disagree. Also, by the way, check your DMs. I slightly disagree that not everyone has a chance to learn about castles. I would agree not everyone has learned about castles, but at least in the Western world, you have the opportunity to learn about castles at any moment if you decide that you want to learn about castles.
You know, honestly, okay. Um, if you don't mind, I'd like to wax poetically a little bit about that, and
At
then
least it's just waxing poetically about that and not waxing something else poetically.
Ah, but after that, I do want to say, see what you were cooking. It sounds like
Yep.
you're cooking something.
Yes, I'm currently.
Hold on. Let me. So with that being said, you're right. Um, there is the option to gain this knowledge, and I think a lot of people um, miss out on it, but not. I. It's a half and half between themselves and outside influence. So they could have that slight spark of interest in learning what formulates castles. The different types of castles. We didn't even talk about star fortresses.
Yep.
Um,
Which are a
but
different thing.
yeah,
Forts aren't
no.
castles.
I
Forts
know.
are their own
I,
defensive
I,
structures.
but you build. There's been numerous cities built inside of them because they are
Yep.
so large. Uh,
And
but
one
but
second,
but
Sora, my mouse just died.
but again, we can. That's a horse of a different color, right? Um, so I think the one thing that, or one of the avenues that we should strike at this problem, right? It's not just throwing money at it. It's not just give all the students fucking Chromebooks. Um, Believe me, I'm going through a whole bunch of laptops that came from schools, and yeah, these kids don't give a shit. They could give two fucks about the technology you give them. You
They
know,
do frightening things to the tech.
it's yeah, and I can only imagine what they're looking at on it. So uh, it's not about
Well,
the
that
tech.
depends. Do you have to chisel some of the keys out? Because that might inform
Yes,
you.
yes,
So then
it's
you
gross.
kind of know what they're looking at on them.
It's not a lot of them, but you do run across them. But it's not the tech. It's not just tossing money into it to foster new bureaucracies within the systems, and we need to have a governance board to look at this and shit. Oh my god, what the hell is Sora Luna?
Hey, Sora.
Hello.
What are you?
It's Lion King.
That's the Lion King?
Well, it's a lion that has a crown. What else do you call it?
I don't know. I thought it was Black Panther with jewel eyes or diamond eyes. These
I think it's
diamond
supposed to
eyes.
represent some sort of weird Bitcoin thing.
Huh.
I use Brave for my main browser, and the backgrounds change a lot, and sometimes they have these cool like art and stuff and then I I take a screenshot of them.
Huh.
Nice.
I think this was from because they advertise all sorts of NFT slash crypto coin stuff and wallets and all that sort of thing. So I think this is probably from something like that.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And welcome.
Hello, thank you.
But yeah, no, I think
And
I
wouldn't
think
giving the Black Panther blue eyes be racist, Adam? Come on. You should know better than that.
no, they are jewel eyes. They're like diamond eyes, diamond eyes.
The
So
disabled, because
yeah,
they lost
and
its
they
sight.
find
They
diamonds in Africa, and that kind of works. But no,
God damn, now they're blood diamond eyes?
no, they're not red. They're blue. But no, the so I'm looking at it like we're attacking it through tech or through money. I think we really do need to address this issue with inspiration. We need to inspire these people. Oh, you people. No, these people, any human, to want to learn this shit. They you want to give them the interest to want to dive into it, and when their curiosity is piqued and they want to go and look into it on their own, that's the greatest advancement you can do, you know. And
That's why I'm really big fan of the so-called infotainment, or edutainment is another way of referring to it, where it was games set up to teach you about X, Y, Z, but they were fun, and they made you want to figure shit out. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Fantastic fucking game.
yeah,
And it made people actually give a shit about geography and history, because where the fuck is she? And Where in Time, same thing. It made you care about history and made you care about what was happening where and when. You had Dr. Brain's Island. Have any of you ever played Dr. Brain's Island?
it sounds
is it one
familiar.
of those like math games?
Is it a Sierra game?
Dr. Brain, I think it might
Hold
be.
on.
Let me quickly double check if it
I
was
had a couple
Sierra.
of like infotainment gaming. Dr. Brains Island.
It was the third in the Dr. Brain series. If I remember correctly, it was the third. It was either the second or the third. And it was
The Island.
a game that was meant to teach you a
Sierra.
bunch. It is Sierra?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it was meant to teach you a bunch of different things and meant to make you think through different problems. So every single element of it was something else that you had to think through. For example, in one section, in order to start the fucking game, there was a cryptology legend in the manual that you would open up, and at the start of the screen, in order to play the game, it would have a few symbols that would be at the top of the screen. And you'd have to use the key in the back of the manual, looking at those symbols, figure out what those symbols mean to figure out the coordinates on the map, because the screen that you're looking at is actually a map that's obscured by clouds and shit like that. You see some land masses, but
that's very cool.
Yeah, so you would have to
I know.
figure out the coordinates, click the right part of the map, and then it zooms in after showing a plane fly over and someone parachute out. It zooms in as the person's falling through the sky, and then it reaches an island at the bottom. And then it opens up with the big title screen of The Island of Dr. Brain. And that's the very first bit of the game. That's how you start playing it. You have to figure out coordinates based off of cryptography.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and then a bunch of the things are just logic puzzles. So, for instance, there's one of those, you know, the puzzles that it kind of looks like you have a shit ton of Tetris pieces and you're supposed to fill a rectangle?
Oh, 10 grams.
Yes. So you have all those pieces and you have to fill up a rectangle without any gaps using all the pieces so that the door will open up to the next section. So you immediately have to figure out cryptography. Then you have to figure out how to do the tangram puzzle. Then you're led into a room where in order to get out of that room, you have to do a Tower of Hanoi. Then after the Tower of Hanoi, I think it goes to... I'm trying to remember the order of the games. It's either that it went to the chemistry segment or it went to another logic puzzle. But as you're going through each segment of the game, it's a different sort of puzzle. And it doesn't hold your hand and it doesn't go, now see, at this puzzle, what you do is you have to fill up the screen in order to get the door to open. No, it's, you get to this screen, there's a bunch of blocks on the side, and there's a blank space that clearly you should put something in, so you try to put the pieces there. There's no telling you what's happening. It's, here's this shit, figure it out, have fun. But
that's, see, I like that. That's nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it respects kids.
Yep.
Because it's like, we know they're not stupid, and maybe they won't understand, but then they'll figure it out. They'll step away, come back later, and you know.
Yep. And there are a bunch of games like this. Because it's not just Dr. Brain's Island. There was a series of Dr. Brain's game. Or Dr. Brain games. Starting with, I think it was Dr. Brain's Tower. And all of them did that. Where you would learn about one thing, or you'd have to figure out how to do one thing, and then the next puzzle would be something entirely different, and then the puzzle after that would be entirely different, and the puzzle after that would be entirely different. So it was this constant figure out how to get through the next area. We aren't going to hold your hand. We aren't going to tell you how to do it. Here's a screen that gives you all the information that you need to find. Oh, and I just found the list of different challenges in Dr. Brain's Island. So it's the cryptography, which is the map reading and decoding of the coordinates. Then it's the block puzzle. Then it goes to the Tower of Hanoi. Then it was equation lines, where you had to figure out how to make everything work out correctly, and it was pretty fucking interesting the way that you did it. Because there were things that, if a section was blue, that meant that it would add. If it was red, it meant that it would subtract. If it was green, then it meant that it went right. And you had to figure this out while you were watching the visuals to get any indication of, are you moving in the right direction or the wrong direction? And when you finish that bit, it would tell you the code that you would use in order to open another door, because the solution to that was the door code.
Brings back missed memories.
Exactly. And then it went to a number pattern game where it was dealing with like the Fibonacci sequence, and you had to figure out. So sometimes it was the Fibonacci sequence, sometimes it was adding and subtracting and adding, then subtracting, dividing, multiplying. doing squares and roots, doing Fibonacci sequences, but it would give you enough information. Think the SAT or MCAT or any other logic test where they have, here's a series of numbers, finish the series. Only it was interesting because you were figuring out what the fuck is this keeping behind it.
Nothing quite like that kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
That for me, that was, it sounds really fun, and probably as an adult I'll enjoy it. But oh god, kid me would cry.
Oh yeah, but the thing is that because it was changing puzzles every time, you would look at one puzzle that you absolutely hate, and you would go, okay, if I get through this puzzle, it's going to be something else. It's not just going to be figure out how these numbers are associated. Because, yeah, it goes the number pattern, Tower of Hanoi, then it's a jigsaw puzzle, then it goes to what they call the flamingo puzzle, where you have to get a certain number of flamingos to take on specific poses that you're shown at the very beginning of the puzzle.
How they put their legs, wings, and neck kind of thing.
Yep. So,
and is it one of those the ones that if you click one,
it changes more?
Change?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, fuck those puzzles. But yes. But when you finally figure out how it is, it's like, yeah, I'm so smart.
Yep. And then it was a word search. Then it went to quotes. And it was just famous quotes that you had to figure out. Then it was an animal search. Then chemical compounds. It did a Sudoku, I think, is the next one, because it just says number grid, and I think that one was the Sudoku, or it was something very similar to Sudoku. Then it's chemical analysis, so that gets into chemistry. Then it goes to antonyms and homonyms and synonyms, and then it goes to matching groups, and then it's a bookshelf that you have to categorize either by the subject or the Dewey Decimal or the author. It changed each time that you played the game what the categorization was, but it was obvious from what was there what categorization you would be using, or you could figure out what categorization it was using. Then there were the water problems, which was effectively logic gates, if I remember correctly. Then it went to, the water problem wasn't the logic gates one. The water problem was the density portion.
Oh, so is that like how much water that you put in to rise, make something like a marble rise or something?
It was figuring out how much of different things you had to balance out, or what there'd be a balance. You had access to one side that you had access to, you would be able to fill up different size vessels with water. And the other side would have different objects set on it that you can't touch. So it'd be like a cup of alcohol, a quart of alcohol, a gallon of alcohol, a cup of water, quart of water, gallon of water, cup of mercury, quart of mercury, gallon of mercury, gold. And you would have to figure out, okay, based on the sizes, everything would have what it was and the quantity of it. It would tell you what the mass that you needed to balance out was. Because if it was a gallon of mercury, that was one of the most dense things that would be on the other side. And it's north of 100 pounds for a gallon of mercury. So you'd have to balance that out on your side. It was, every section had a different thing, and it just went completely wild. They weren't all math, they weren't all science, they weren't all reasoning or language. It went through pretty much every goddamn subject that you could think of for that grade level and above, because this is a game that was made for, I want to say it was like 8 to 16 was its target demographic. And a portion of it was doing computer programming, art, geology, genealogy, music. It was
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, do they have like? Oh, I suppose that you can. They're still making these kind of stuff for kids.
Not as many. I've tried to find, because I remember all the great games that I used to have when I was growing up that were educational games, and they'd have different difficulty levels, because there were the Dr. Brain series, there was Carmen Sandiego, there was all these Math Blaster, simple one. There was also the spelling one of Math Blaster.
I had one of the Math Blasters, and I had it was a horror themed one, like a murder mystery horror game.
What?
I think it was a math one, or it may
Did
have
it
been.
take place in a radio station?
No, it took place in a mansion.
Oh,
and
you're talking about
named Lydia.
This Maniac Mansion.
Was that?
Yeah, it was it came out on Apple computers, I believe. I think, but I remember from NES. I think it came out on PC and other.
No, it's not Maniac Mansion. That's not the one.
Because there was one series that I'm trying to remember the name of, and it had one where you're on a mountain, you had one where you're in a radio station, you had one where
it's a Math Blaster mystery. It's Math Blaster mystery, The Great Brain Robbery.
Okay, yep, that one I'm familiar with. But there's one game that I'm trying to game series.
There's another one that there's this one.
Now hold on. How much do you want to bet that there are people out there who are doing playthroughs of these games and like Twitch streaming them?
Oh, there might be. And one of the great things is a lot of the games that I'm talking about, you can find ROMs for really easily.
Oh no, ROMs, dude. Yo, I don't know if you want to talk about pirating, because you wouldn't pirate a grandma, and you wouldn't
pirate a car, would you?
Well,
yeah. The thing is that a lot of these are dead IP from dead companies. But then there's also some that have come out. One of my favorites when I was really little, have any of you ever played the Zoombeanies?
No, not by name.
Zoombeanies?
The Zoombeanies.
Whoa.
So the Zoombeanies was a game that was meant to teach effectively programming logic without anyone realizing what the fuck it was doing. And my God, did it succeed. Especially with making sure that no one knew what the fuck it was doing. It was glorious. I loved that game. You would be the person leading the Zoombeanies, and the Zoombeanies were these weird little Smurf blue creatures that had different types of legs and haircuts and noses and eyes, and every feature could change on the Zoombeanie, except it would be a blue ball that then everything else was stuck onto. It was like a blue Mr. Potato Head. And
what?
Yeah, so like some of your Zoombeanies would be wearing roller skates. Some of them would have sneakers. Some of them didn't have legs. They just had a propeller shoved up their ass that allowed them to float. Some of them
I found it.
You found it?
I found it. It was Reading Blaster, ages 9 to 12. I
Yep.
am not insane. It's Reading Blaster, the specific one, because there
Hold
is
on.
indeed
Is there a way to show
you're
her
guided
her
by a
video
ghost
stream?
girl. Sorry.
Oh, if you have it pulled up, you can share screen and we can see the picture.
Oh no, I just like everybody else. Someone on Reddit has already asked this question.
Oh.
I just googled uh 90s education kids game ghost named Lydia, and it popped, and somebody asked this very same thing on a Reddit subreddit,
It's
and
the
then
Super Seekers. I just found the one that I was looking for.
Hold on. Is this another Mandela effect?
no,
No,
it's not, because I found it, and it's all sorts of different ghosts
yeah,
and just stuff. God, I remember this. It was such a fun game. I loved it so much.
and the one that I was looking for was the Super Seekers, because I said that there was another series that I'm trying to remember the name of, where it was like one of them was in a radio station, one of them was on a mountain, one of them was in a toy factory, one of them was in an abandoned school. And I found the game. It was the Super Seekers was the series. So it was like Treasure Math Storm and Treasure Mountain and Treasure Cove. Where are the ones about? Midnight Rescue is the one where you're in an abandoned school.
Cool.
Here, let me pull up this image, because this is something that probably, if anyone played this game, this is an image that you probably will know. Let me get this copied over so that I can open it up here. And then I can share it. One moment. Okay. Okay, I got it. And now I just need to share it.
Yay.
This game.
Hey, yes. This looks familiar.
Yeah.
We probably had this at my school.
Yep. But it was games like this that made learning really fun. Do you remember this one as well, Adam?
No, what is that?
This is Midnight Rescue, which is one of the Super Solvers, not Super Seekers, Super Solvers games. So the premise behind them was each of the Super Solvers games took place in a different location. And some of them were math games, some of them were typing games, some of them were various logic or history or insert thing here. So one of them, like Gizmos and Gadgets, was entirely engineering and physics based. So all of the things that you dealt with in that game would be based around figuring out something when it came to physics. So you'd have a scale and you'd have to figure out how to place the weights that you have available on that scale, which has an extremely long lever arm, so that it balances out the weights on the other side of the scale. And once you went past the base level challenge, it wouldn't be that, oh, you have the same exact weight, so you just place the same weights in the same positions. But it would be like, there's a 5-pound weight, 2 pegs in on the left-hand side. You have a 1-pound weight. Where do you stick it on the right-hand side in order to balance the 5-pound weight? So you'd have to figure out how much force was being exerted on the lever arm by that weight in that position, and where you could balance out that weight by sticking the smaller weight that you had, or sometimes you would have a much heavier weight. So it would be, there's a 1-pound weight in the final position, and you had a 15-pound weight. Where the hell do you stick your 15-pound weight on the lever arm so that it balances without it being too high or too low. Edutainment games were amazing. I loved edutainment games. And this is the type of shit that actually made children interested in things. No one became passionate about something by listening to a teacher say, "And now, class, if you turn to page 34, we will read about the
Yeah, no
economic
kidding.
policy
Oh God,
of
no.
this group during the dates of January 5th to January 7th.
And we're all asleep already.
Yeah. No one gets passionate about that. But you give kids a game, and one of the things that was amazing about the Super Solvers games and the Dr. Brain's Island, you were scored. And it gave you a visual of where your score lined up. So it wasn't just a, oh, this was a fun game. It was, oh, this is a fun game. I'm going to be number 1. Fuck you. And you would try to beat it. And every single one of them would have some sort of challenge. The Zimbinis, the one that I was talking about before I got off on the side tangent. Once you found the one that you were looking for, I had to go, there has to be a way of me finding the one I was looking for. And I found it. But the Zumbinis, they're these little... Here, let me just pull up a picture of a group of Zumbinis. That way you can see what Zumbinis look like. Because they are weird little bastards. And let me stop sharing so I can search in this window for the Zumbinis.
They sound very cute.
Oh, they are adorable. And the entire point of it was to give you these cute little visuals, and then you would be leading them through a world. They had been functionally enslaved by the, what was it, green meanies? Was that what they were called?
Oh my God, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Green
meanies was used for a bunch of different things, but I think the Zumbinis villains were also the green meanies.
You know, I think it was blue meanies from Yellow Submarines.
Yes, there's the blue meanies from the Yellow Submarine, but I know that there have been green meanies and things as well, and I think one of them was the Zumbinis. So, here, let me... This bit of my childhood. Apparently, it's now on Steam.
Oh.
Have at it, you filthy animals. So, it's a game that... Here, let me show you what the...
Share the screen.
Yep. So, the Zumbinis, like I said, they're these little weird blue creatures that each have different haircuts,
oh my God,
eyes, different legs.
I played this game. We had this in my school.
Yep. So the way that it worked was every single puzzle that you went through would be a logic gate of some sort.
Yes.
And you had to figure out what the logic of it was. So for instance, this one, it shows you that at least the first and the last elements of the logic gate are the round red glasses and the shades. So you have to figure out where everything else is, and they found out that the little cyclopean bastards are somewhere in the middle.
Oh
and you would have games that are AND gates, you would have games that are OR gates, you'd have games that are AND OR gates.
Yeah.
So you'd be learning programming logic gates while having this fun little adventure of saving these little blue bastards from the slavery that they were in at the start of the game. And you'd have normally 3 chances. Some games you'd have more. So this one, the chances are the pegs on the side of the screen holding the chain.
Mm-hmm.
So every wrong answer, one of those pegs will pop out of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have a set number of opportunities to get through the game. If you failed, then your Zumbinis were, if you were before the first checkpoint, they were sent back to the island where they're enslaved again. If you got to the first checkpoint, then they were sent back to the first checkpoint. If you got to the second checkpoint, they were sent back to the second checkpoint.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you could only ever lead 8 Zumbinis through any... No, it's not 8. It's 16 Zumbinis. Let me quickly double check. Is this the full company? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, 16 Zumbinis through any section. So if you only get the 4 that are currently on the path for the Sphinx on this one, or for the lion rather, it's not a Sphinx, it's just a lion. If you only get the 4 that are currently on the path, and then you blow all your other chances, those 12 are back at the previous checkpoint. These 4 move on, and you can see if you can get them all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And you would take as many Zumbini through every run as you can. As you do each run, the game would get progressively harder and harder and harder, hiding more and more of the logic gate criteria. Mm-hmm. Some of them were always, you had no clue what the logic gate criteria were. Some of them they would give hints. The lion puzzle was one of the ones that they gave hints. One of the ones where there is never any hint when you first started was the "give me a pizza pie" trolls. It was these 3 trolls that would ask you to make pizzas and ice cream
hold on.
sundaes.
Don't get me started on pizza pies, dude.
Oh my god. There was there was another one with like that we had. So also blue, but they were like fuzzy creatures.
What?
It was something else that was also around the same time. Oh, I can't remember now. But
I vaguely
this is
remember it, but I can't remember what it was called.
I feel like it was more of an adventure game, less so of like a logic puzzle game.
Yep.
But no, this is amazing. This is bringing back so many memories.
Yeah, and like I said, these games were amazing, and they, again, made people actually interested in learning what the fuck you were trying to teach them. Because you would have some challenge element to it. You would have the Zumbinis, where, it was, can you get them through? And if you can, how many can you get through? How quickly can you get through? What's your points on this? You'd have the super solvers. Can you get the high score? You'd have can you get the high score in all the Dr. Brain games? And again, each game had different things that it was testing you on, different things that it was making you think through. It made learning interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. We need to make learning interesting again.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, learn to read from a teacher going, this is how you pronounce this word. This is how you pronounce that word. I learned how to read from, what was it? It was Sammy the Snake's book club. I think it was Sammy Snake's book club. It was another edutainment game.
Can I say really quickly, and this might be you know, a side note, but I think the whole thing, as I'm depicting it in my brain right now, is a bread that is crafted with what is it? Where they have it's heated and it's hollow in the center, but it's I can't remember. I think it's cooked out, definitely out in the Middle East.
Oh, you think pita?
No, well, it's a pita, but it's hollowed in the end, and it's a bigger bit. But that's what I was thinking when I was listening to what you were saying, and I agree. Yeah.
Interesting thing to think of during the edutainment games.
Or he's hungry.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, that too. I mean, that might play a part of it, but
So I'm guessing that that's his subtle way of, hey, Sanguine, what did you make for dinner? Is that what you're getting at, Adam?
uh, oh, hey, yeah, Sanguine. What are you cooking out there?
I just pulled some baked balsa from the oven. I'm also going to be steaming some more balsa. The steamed ones are going to be little snacks and lunches and breakfast during the week, but the baked ones are going to be my dinner tonight. And balsa are a often steamed. You can also do baked. You can do fried, but they're a bun with meat and stuff inside them. So the particular type that I did is a one sticking to the baking sheet.
Oh.
But there we go.
It's stuck to
I
a sheet.
liberated it.
Oh.
It is no longer stuck.
Awesome.
But yeah,
Yeah.
they're these buns filled with meat and various other goodies. The ones that I made tonight are minced pork, minced shrimp, garlic, kimchi, shoyu, a Korean hot sauce, sauteed mushrooms, and sliced and heavily caramelized onion.
Yummy.
And they are amazing. I've made them many times before. I'm just going to see if they are entirely done through. Because with the steamed ones, those are the easiest to make in order to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. Because you just set them on and you can literally steam those bastards for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. You'll find places that will just have a steamer full of balsa. And when you order one, they just pop open the lid, grab one off, toss it to you. It's been cooking for like half a day and it's delicious.
Yummy.
And you can put ginger in it. I had ginger in one of the sauces, so I didn't add additional ginger. But you can do sliced ginger in your meat filling. You can do a bunch of other things. And you can do entirely veggie fillings. You can do entirely meat fillings. You can flavor them up any number of ways that you could possibly want. They're absolutely delicious. I highly recommend. If you've never had balsa, try balsa.
I concur. I have had it a couple of times. Very delicious.
Yeah, they just... And like I said, you can do them steamed, you can do them baked, you can do them fried. You can do them steamed and then baked shortly so that the bottom gets really crispy.
But like so fluffy, but you got a crispy butt. Yeah.
So you have a light, fluffy, steamed top that's just thrown in a screaming hot pan that's well greased so that it gets that nice, crispy bottom. And they are delicious when they're done that way as well. That's a Shanghai style, if I remember correctly. Oh,
That sounds very good. I had your favorite for dinner tonight, Sanguine.
I had pizza.
Girl dinner.
You had feral raccoon. Somehow that I shot low when I said pizza, and somehow you limboed underneath.
It was literally a can of tuna and a serrano pepper and a slice of bread.
Feral raccooning.
Hey, it's satisfying, man. It's delicious.
See, I can take doing a tinned tuna dinner, but you do something with the tinned tuna. You take the
Yeah.
tinned tuna, you
Put a bit of pepper in it, and then a tiny bit of salt because this is not salted. And I have washed fresh serrano pepper. I take a bite of tuna. I take a bite of pepper. Take a bite of tuna. Take a bite of pepper, and occasionally a bite of bread. If I manage to have an extra spicy bit of the serrano. Delicious.
feral raccooning. What I was saying is that you actually mix the ingredients together and then you make like onigiri, or you make a sandwich, or you make something with
Yeah,
it.
then
You don't just
watch a bowl.
you don't
This way,
just
I just have
here.
a can, and then I rinse out the can and recycle, and all done.
Hey, so
Again, feral raccooning.
well, hold on.
I can't deny it.
What if you have that spread, but then you add different kinds of breads?
Like
I don't
what?
know.
I
Like a
would
crusty
still say-
Sourdough,
meatloaf, or
I would still say that do something with the tinned tuna. Don't just, yeah, I take a bite of it, I take a bite of pepper, I take a bite of bread, I make the sandwich in my mouth.
I mean, it's not so much that you're like trying to make a sandwich out of it. You're just, enjoying parts of the sandwich.
but I don't want a sandwich
Yeah, you don't want a whole
or
sandwich.
an onigiri or anything like that.
You feral
I want-
raccooning. I realize that you want the feral raccoon, but you're feral raccooning.
Yes. And every time I think, like, I do something like this, I think of that and laugh. It's great.
And it's still delicious, though. That's the thing.
What's even
Oh.
better is taking it and doing something with it. You take that tinned tuna, you knock it out into something, you add like a little bit of chili crisp or sriracha if
what's
you like
really
sriracha.
funny?
You add
I-
in some.
I have all the ingredients available to make just a little bit of like a tuna salad, like you would put in a sandwich. I have all of that. I have
Yep.
the mayo. I have everything. All I literally have to do is put it together in a bowl. No,
Yep, I realize this because pretty much everyone has the ingredients to make that. But no, you choose to feral raccoon.
it's satisfying.
And I choose to judge you for your feral raccooning.
Judge away.
Yeah, look, you haven't, unless you've experienced it. I don't know. Well, no, that goes against the whole. Yeah. It's so good. I don't mind it.
I experience eating properly quite often. And by quite often, I mean every fucking day because I make a delicious dinner every day.
Okay, that's nice. I can't be bothered to do that every day, though.
It's easy.
Oh, I'm sure it's like preparing and stuff is not too bad. It's just, eh.
Yeah, I see. That's kind of like the difference. Is like you don't want to bother. Yeah, you could. cook an easy meal, super easy meal. Um, but
That would end up far more delicious.
well, but that's what I mean. Or you could just have a couple of bits here and there, and then you're good to go.
Why though? You have the option of better meal, and cooking is
Oh, wait.
relaxing. So you
Richard in chat says his dog had a better dinner, half a chicken with 2 cups of kibble, carrots, apples, and some broccoli. You misunderstand me. My dogs eat exceptionally well. They get cooked food that we make and everything. I just can't be bothered for me to take the extra step. They get
she
all those
feral
sorts of yummies.
raccoons, their pets don't.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
different. I'm with you, sir. They get excellent food and extra nibbles, and don't worry about it.
I don't know. I don't want to
Mm.
get
And then
too into it, but
sometimes one of my favorite meal stews in the pressure cooker. You take some chicken thighs. I like the one skin on bone in. Chicken thighs. You add some rice. Any type of rice really you want. I do like risotto, like Italian risotto rice. That couple of large carrots, maybe a potato if it's you have a sweet one, but definitely you want the carrots in there.
okay, hold on.
Let
How
the
you
pressure
how are
cooker
you
do its
cutting them
thing.
carrots and potatoes?
Sorry.
How are you cutting the carrots and potatoes? Because are you cutting
It's a
them
pressure
like
cooker.
sliced? Well,
No, it's a
yeah,
pressure
but
cooker. I just like it depends on the size of your pressure cooker. If you have a small one, cut the carrots in half. Cube the potatoes maybe.
oh,
But you want to keep it a big chunk, okay? Because you're gonna cut it in the bowls
so you want
or
chunks
mash
of
it later.
okay.
So you cut it there. You put in the meat and everything. You add a little bit of vegeta, not too much because the dogs are gonna eat from it too. So you don't want it too salty. And then let the
What's for
pressure
the
cooker do
dogs?
its
Oh,
thing. And once it's done, you take out the meat to debone it, and then you shred it up and put it back in with the rice, mix it all up, and then divide it into 3. A portion for each dog and a portion for me. It is delicious, and they eat it like they never ate anything in their life. And of course, for them they get added kibbles, but I do not. And that is how you cook for the dogs. But sometimes they don't have enough chicken for a human portion, so it just goes to the dogs.
very nice.
Hmm. And I will feral raccoon it.
Like I said, you feral raccoon for yourself, and then you feed your pets. Why not just feed both?
Yeah, but no.
Well,
This doesn't make sense to me.
yeah.
I know. It's okay. It does to me.
Hey, that's why I always jump at the chance to hang out at a chat with Sora Luna. You never know what you're gonna get, and yeah,
Well, it just makes life a little bit easier. It's okay.
But yeah, like I said,
My life, anyway.
when it comes to education, we need to make education fun again.
yes, yes, that's where it gets to. If you're gonna want to educate people, you're gonna want to make it entertaining for them. Otherwise, I mean, I'd say a lot of people are fucking dumb.
Mm.
Most people.
Yeah.
Think about how dumb the average person is, and then realize half of them are dumber.
Dude, there are still people wearing masks, driving in their cars with their windows up. Like,
Yep.
That is quite funny, isn't it?
there's
I always
dumb
thought that was
people out
funny.
there. Yeah, no, they're out there. But, that's why I look at it like,
And
as ridiculous as it is, you know, as long as we can still see it and show it out, I think that we're doing our part. I'm doing my part.
cannibalistic, see, the thing is that having good food doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do a shit ton of work for the food. Like, I do
Ooh, that
fairly
sounds good.
fancy dinners a good chunk of the time. But
Ooh.
I also do pork chops, rice, and mushroom soup. Which is literally, you get pork chops, sear the pork chops, dump in mushroom soup, throw that in the oven, let it bubble away. You make your rice. Put rice in bowl or on plate. Take pork chop out, put on plate, pour mushroom soup on top. Done. It looks horrendous every time that you make it because it kind of looks like someone got sick on your plate. There's no way of making pork chops, rice, and mushroom soup look sexy. It's...
You don't have to. It's just hearty food.
yeah. I'm just giving people warning that when you make it, it will look like someone got sick on your plate because it is white underneath a kind of golden brown with lumps.
Yeah.
This is not an appealing meal until you smell it and taste it, and then, oh, yes. It is delicious. But, yeah, I wish that we had more edutainment games and that we had edutainment games of the same quality.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some that pop up here and there. But the thing is, I've seen a fair number of the edutainment games that pop up,
Mm-hmm.
and they aren't anywhere near as fun as even the games that were designed to be played a couple times through. You guys remember the Jumpstart series of games? Or, Sora, you remember the Jumpstart series of games? I'm not sure if they were out when Adam was at
Hold
the
on.
age
Let
for
me
them.
to the Google
Jumpstart.
Jumpstart games.
So it would be like Jumpstart first grade, Jumpstart second grade, Jumpstart third grade.
The dog looks familiar. I'm not sure which of these I played. I never these ones I wouldn't have had at home. They would have been in the computer lab at school.
See,
I'm gonna assume I did play them at some point.
I had these at home because my parents, when I was young, not really, really little, but when I was little, the policy was I could effectively get any educational game I wanted. And then if I did something like got a good enough grade in something, then I could get a non-educational game. That
That's
was
nice.
one of the ways that it worked, because that way I wasn't able to just do whatever game I wanted. It was, nope, you can do educational games, which are still fun, and I still love educational games. But in order to also get the games that you want, your birthdays, when you achieve something, yeah, you can get a standard game that is non-educational, so like a Tomb Raider, shit like that. But I played all of the Jumpstart games,
Mm-hmm.
and they were fantastic. They were actually fun games, because I remember Jumpstart 5th grade probably the most. Jumpstart 5th grade, the premise was the main protagonist was solving a heist. And each of the things that you were dealing with, you were getting a clue by doing it, which made it interesting to play because there was actually an objective. It wasn't just, what's this multiplied by that?
What is it with all of these kids games from like 90s, early 2000s that have like a crime element to it? They're like murder, like, okay, maybe not a murder mystery, but pseudo murder mystery, or like Halloweeny or heist, or
It was popular at the time. That was
Yeah, I
a
guess
big
so.
genre.
We were tougher
And-
back then. Everybody liked mystery games.
Yeah, it was a big genre of game, and it gave a reason why you'd be solving this sort of shit, because it became, oh yeah, this is just a puzzle that you need to solve in order to get the clue. So,
I mean, it was also easier to craft a game around simple searching out clues and
yep,
uh, I
you
want
can
to
do
say
point and click
artifacts, but
games
objects.
very
But
easily
yeah,
that way.
yeah, you can. A lot of it spawned out of the Macs too. So
Yeah.
even though we don't talk about Macs here, it's all about DOS.
But when you have games like that are actually fun to play, and not oh, I need to do this, people get interested. And the fifth grade one was a bit of bullshit, because I remember fifth grade. At no point did I need to be able to tell the difference between two classical painters in fifth grade. In Jumpstart fifth grade, I needed to be able to know the differences between classical paintings, between their styles, between when they were around and were doing their styles, and be able to figure out what painting it was in this massive fucking art museum based on a fairly vague descriptor.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bit of bullshit. Why the fuck was that in Jumpstart 5th grade? There should have been a different Jumpstart game which had that. But at the same time, it was kind of weird learning about classical art.
Do you did you guys ever do so this it wasn't a video game, but they were CDs. It was about the different classical musicians. It was like Beethoven in the basement, or I don't know, Mozart in the attic, or something like that. It was a series of CDs, and they were basically like audiobooks that you were listening to, and there would be like some sort of mystery or adventure, and some took place in that time in the time frame of the composer, or I have this feeling that one of them was like time travel adventure as well.
Wait, was it just like an
It was just
uh
a CD, so it was you would just be listening to it. There wasn't
An interactive component?
yeah.
okay, so you were just listening to a story?
Yeah. And but
Oh,
it would teach you about the composer, and they would have some of his pieces, like usually the more known pieces,
that's
and
pretty
maybe
cool.
talk to you a bit about the life and everything. Yeah.
That's very
Oh,
cool. I
hold
don't
on.
think I've ever seen those, though.
How did they send them? Was like they send them out randomly, or
No, I just we used to have like a really cool independent CD shop, and then in the kids section where they have like kids music and stuff, they had these CDs, and that's how I got them.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
have
just
those.
randomly bought one and then started kind of getting a collection. Let me see if I can find.
wonder if they're on
Hmm.
YouTube? They have the whole playlist on there.
That'd be
Oh,
cool.
you found them?
No, I'm just wondering.
Musing out loud.
Yeah,
Ah. Hmm.
That he's wondering if they're there, which that would be something that would be cool and probably would end up on YouTube at some point. The question is if it's been long enough and if the copyright holder is lax enough to allow it.
right. And I would say if the copyright is lax enough, I would encourage people to upload all any sort of recordings or videos or any sort of historical documents that you may hold, because that's very important. Let's
Yeah.
rebuild the Library of Alexandria.
Has there been? I know that there's Project Gutenberg, but has there been a Library of Alexandria digital incentive
I
or initiative rather.
um I haven't heard of
Oh,
any, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's been individuals out there that have attempted this task for sure. But
Because yeah, like I said, I know that there's Project Gutenberg, which you guys both know about Project Gutenberg, right?
sure.
hmm
It didn't sound like Sora was overly certain that she was aware of what it was with that. Yeah, sure.
Well, it's the if you go online, it has a bunch of free books and everything is on there.
Okay, good. Then
Yeah,
you
we
are.
used it in
Yeah.
high school all the time.
For those who don't know, Project Gutenberg is a digital store of pretty much as they can get that has gone out of copyright. So, all kinds of different books from fairly basic ones like what's a big important book? The Origin of Species. Darwin.
Mm.
Clearly out of any sort of uh, copyright. They have that in its full. But then they'll also have weird ones like they have a cookbook that has become one of my favorite things just to look at every so often because its recipes are the weirdest sons of bitches imaginable. It's from the closet of Sir Arthur Kenham Digby.
Nice. That is
And
a great name.
yes, it is fantastic. And like I said, it has weird recipes. So one of the instance is, or one for instance, is the recipe for the metheglin that they have in, well, one of the metheglins that they have in the cookbook. And the metheglin they describe as set honey to heat and add water until such time as you can float an egg upon the surface by the thickness of one groat.
Nice. There is there's a couple of different people. I'm sure the videos are also on YouTube, but I found the reels on Instagram who take like old English recipe books or
Mm-hmm.
recipes found in this and recreate the recipes.
Mm-hmm.
So like and then reading like how you just wrote about, how reading out loud what the original one is
Mm-hmm.
and explaining, what the translation would be.
What the fuck that means?
Yes.
So it says
Very, very
render.
fascinating how because you can see also how like language changes and
Yeah,
all of
when
that.
it's render thick until an egg can float upon the surface by the thickness of one groat. That
Yeah.
does lead to the question of okay, first off, the
What
fuck
is
is a groat?
groat? How thick is it? Oh, anyway, I have found what I was talking about, the CDs.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a Canadian thing.
We'll try not to
So
hold that against it.
it's called the Children's Group. So it's a Canadian music producer, and
Mm-hmm.
the series is called Classical Kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the following: Beethoven Lives Upstairs, which I had. Hallelujah Handel, Mozart's Magic Fantasy, Mozart's Magnificent Voyage, which is I had. Mr. Buck Comes to Call, Tchaikovsky Discovers America. That one's fun. I have a feeling that's the one that's time travel, that he somehow comes to the future.
Mm-hmm.
Vivaldi's Ring of
Oh, time
Mystery,
travel.
Song of
Oh,
the Unicorn. Song of the Unicorn is fantastic. If I remember correctly, it's set well medieval days. And at some point, you learn about the creation of music in like
Mm-hmm.
about how a monk had decides to create notes. So about how to create the notes of the music that we've
So
come
it's
to be able to read. If I
learning
remember
how
correct.
the musical notation came about.
Yes. Yeah. So if I remember correct, that's the one. And that is like a brother and sister adventure and beautiful music. Daydreams and Lullabies. I think I had that one too. And a Classical Kids Christmas, which I didn't know existed. These were amazing. So you'd follow along, just listen to it. And I've
Mhm.
always liked this because I love like old time radio, like Murder Mysteries and sci-fi and stuff like that. So like just listening to it and visualizing what's going on.
Mhm.
Fantastic. I wonder if they are now I'm wondering if they are indeed on YouTube because that would be super cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. If they are, please do share if you find them. But
Well, you got to remember they put a lot of energy into their production of the old radio shows. So
Mhm.
you know, but that was kind of part of it. And hey, th- I'm I would willing to be bet that there is a YouTube playlist that you can find where it's these old, you
oh, you
radio
can
shows.
find there's entire websites. So one of the websites that I know is Old Radio Antioch, if I remember the name correctly. Let me quickly double check.
Ooh,
But I think it's called Old Radio Antioch. And it's a collection of a hell of a lot of different radio dramas.
there you go. Go check them out.
I'm just quickly double checking. Antioch Old Time Radio, Antioch OTR. And I'll copy this link and toss it in chat.
Well, apparently, Song of the Unicorn is a Merlin tale,
Mm-hmm.
and Jeremy Irons narrates. So there you go.
That's
Ooh,
very cool.
Jeremy
Yeah,
Irons.
I was not aware. Anyway, here is a link for that. Let me put that in the chat. Very exciting for me.
But yeah, the Old Time Radio Antioch is apparently out in Antioch, Illinois, is where it's located. So they do live plays. Well, live plays, as in they will play these over the radio as well as over a web player
Mm-hmm.
every day for they'll come out with a daily schedule. So they have from 5:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. where it's just all the different radio dramas that they're going to play that day. And then, if I remember correctly, there is a way of pulling up the specific ones and giving a listen to just the ones that you want, which is really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that also I wish that we would do again is the old school, what was the Dragnet?
Mm-hmm.
You guys know the Dragnet radio dramas, right?
These are the tales of
No,
Yes.
I remember
something
the Dragnet
something.
TV show where they'd always have the. That's where I memorized the Miranda rights.
Yep. So the Dragnet TV show, I think, was based off of the Dragnet radio show. And the Dragnet radio show was based off of actual
Crimes.
crimes and police reports.
These are the case files of something something. I can't remember. It's super dramatic.
Yep.
Narration.
it would be like, these are the case files of this case from this city's police department. The following is a dramatization.
Mhm.
And then it goes through. But they were fantastic. And shit like that, again, I want that type of stuff to come back. And I think that it would especially help it coming back now, of all times. For a while, Law and Order was doing a very similar thing where they would use actual cases and then they just started making shit up.
Mhm.
We need more of, no, this is the actual case. This is how it played out.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, technically, that does exist. You just have to find any true crime YouTuber.
Yep. But I'm saying
There's
I want it
a
with
lot.
that production value of the voices and if
Sound
it's going to
effects.
be, the sound effects, the voices,
Yeah.
everything done to the nines with it. Or as a TV series that actually does it properly. And it isn't, I want it to be the radio drama style feel where, you know that they're talking about something real, but it isn't played up like, okay, here's the interview with the detective. And the detective then talks about it for a little bit as you see reenactments here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be played out in story form while it is keeping true to the source. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, that would be fascinating. And also, it would kind of help rehab the view that a lot of people have of the police, in my opinion. If it was
They could
played up
definitely
properly.
try.
Yeah, that I agree with.
Especially since I don't think that it's happenstance that when Dragnet and things like Dragnet were on air, people had really high opinions of the police. And also, one of the nice things about Dragnet was it wasn't just the police are infallible, because they were going from the record. So if a police officer fucked up in the record, in the radio drama, you would have a police officer fuck up.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. It wasn't just, oh yeah, these are perfect. Like there's one of the Dragnets that I'm trying to remember the exact episode of, if I could figure out the title of it, but it was a case where they had fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, they had reports that someone was doing some stuff, but they didn't have evidence of it. They didn't quite act on it quickly enough. And it ended up with the person doing something really fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately dying. And it was kind of a, oh shit, from the detectives in the write-up for that investigation.
Yeah, that really, puts a spotlight on the thing.
Yeah, when you can have that level of honesty, but it was something that was kind of there to make officers look a bit more human, a bit more approachable, and also a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they didn't just go, oh no, the officers have to seem amazing 100% of the time.
No, it humanizes the profession.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very important.
And that really helps when it comes to, there's situations that it doesn't matter what you're really trained for or what you think you would do in certain situations. Once you're thrown into them, a lot of people find out, oh shit, this isn't what I thought.
Yeah.
Like I was an EMT for an extended period of time, and then I went and worked corrections for a period of time. The number of people that I've heard say that, well, if someone was a bit out of their skull and they were doing X, Y, Z to me, this is what I would do. And I'm looking at them going, you have no clue what the fuck you just said. Because you haven't been in that situation. I know you haven't been in that situation. You know that you haven't been in that situation. And most people don't react with the, I would do this, I'd flip him down, I'd be super cool. No one does that.
No.
No,
When you're in that situation, even if you're doing something super cool, the entire time what's going through your mind is shit, don't fuck yourself, don't crap your pants, just come on, get through this. Okay, I survived.
Yeah, but they say they want to seem tougher.
Yeah.
But it's because it's easy when you have like your only frame of reference would be bravado and television.
And video games.
Yeah.
Oh, if he drew a gun on me, I'd just shoot him in the leg, or shoot the gun out of his hand. Have you fucking tried? Do you know how hard it is to hit someone's hand or their leg in that type of situation?
I'm just gonna ask them nicely to just sit there and wait while I
Hold on. Can you stop running for a moment? Time out. I need to line up this shot. Yeah, surprisingly, they aren't willing to go, okay, hold on. Do you need me to turn like this? Does that make the meat a bit easier to see on this leg? Or
like, here, why don't I just put down my gun and wait for you to shoot me first?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay,
yeah.
I took my shot. It's only fair. You get yours now. Come on. Yeah, that doesn't really happen in situations. It's when there's someone who's having a psychological issue, and they're, to give an example that I had to deal with, someone who has homicidal ideation, you aren't really going to have a, oh no, it's fine. My response, because I had the better angle and I knew what I was dealing with at the time, was still in the back of my mind. I was kind of thinking, shit. But what was coming out of my mouth was not that. What was coming out of my mouth was, okay, you're going to stop fighting now. As I did what I could do in order to restrain them, and I was lucky. I had the better angle. I'm a moose when it comes to physical strength. I won that match. It would have been very different had I not.
Yeah, no. I like to think of a lot of things that I would like to do, and then realize like, yeah, a superhero television me would be that person, but that's not realistic.
The vast majority of people aren't superheroes. They aren't going to do the things that make them seem amazing and super cool and like they can do anything. No, the vast majority of people are the person who's currently running out the fucking door, trying to get the hell away from whatever the hell just happened. And there's a lot of people that seem to think that, oh yeah, someone had training to do XYZ. That means that they are going to be completely stone cold. No, they aren't. They're also going to be going shit. And just trying to survive. The difference is, some of them, and I would say probably the majority of them, are going to be going shit, trying to survive while moving towards the issue.
Yep.
Whereas the bulk
And then
of
the last thing anyone needs is to get in their way while they're trying to help.
Yep.
Because they think they have the bravado to say, "Look at me."
Yeah, it's one of those things that it would be nice to have those series or those sorts of series return so that we get that element of humanizing and not go the way that a lot of the Law and Order stuff did, where originally they had fairly realistic depictions of officers.
Hmm.
You'd have some officers that they would see shit and they would go, okay, yep, that's what we're dealing with. And it wouldn't really fuck with them that much. But as the show went on, in order to have more tension and more emotional impact, it rapidly became everyone is just completely broken mentally. Not a single person got out without severe PTSD, and that isn't realistic. Some people will get issues like that. A lot of people won't. Everyone will have the shit. And being able to depict that appropriately without going overboard and making them either too perfect or too flawed is difficult unless you're dealing with actual reports.
Hmm.
But then again, also people would have problems because, well, where's the characters that we just keep on finding out more about? You don't get that.
No, that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Though, I do love the way that... Have you ever done the old Nero Wolfe radio dramas or seen the Nero Wolfe series?
Oh yeah, as a kid, Nero Wolf, Columbo, all those.
Nero Wolfe was one of my favorite because they had something like only 20 actors and actresses in the show and in the radio series. I think they had a very limited cast. So you would hear the same person in different roles every week, with only like 3 people ever maintaining characters.
Nice.
Because you'd have Archie Goodwin was always Archie Goodwin. Nero Wolfe was always Nero Wolfe. The detective was always the detective. And then Fritz was always Fritz. Everyone else, some weeks, you'd have Saul. And Saul would be played by Saul's normal actor. Other weeks, you'd see Saul, but Saul isn't Saul. Saul's one of the people that's being investigated for a murder. And it was just because, well, we don't have Saul in this episode. We need someone who's a murderer. We already used 17 of our other cast members. You're the only one left. You're the murderer. Have fun, Saul. And the thing that was so perfect about that was that seems like something that would take you out of the show because, wait a second, I know that person, but you never had that thought when you were watching Nero Wolfe. It was never, hold on a moment, that's Saul. This is bullshit. You'd always
That
just
reminds
go,
me.
okay.
So I don't know if you know the British series Midsummer Murders.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. Like over the course of I don't know how many dozens and hundreds of episodes over the years they probably have by now. Um, they use the same lot of actors that you've. It's the same lot of actors that they're in like the Agatha Christie and Poirot series. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's the same faces over and over again. But some actors come back every few years and they're like a different character. And then maybe like because if you're watching them out of order, it could have been that you've just seen an episode where they were the killer, and then in another episode they were the first to die or something, and you're like, what the heck? This is the
Mhm.
same. I always thought that was quite funny. Like, oh, this poor person never catches a break, keeps changing their identity, and oh, they either die or they're constantly doing crime. Tisk tisk. It's the same actor.
Yeah,
I always
and
like that. I think that's fun.
it's a hell of a lot of fun. And again, it's something that if it is played up right, it doesn't make you go, hold on a moment.
No, but you also need good actors. I think
Oh
if an
yeah.
actor can easily like change, right? Because there's so
Hmm.
many who cannot. They're one character. That's it. But
I've said it many times before. I'm pretty sure that you could do an entire movie where there's only one actor, as long as that actor is Gary Oldman.
hmm,
Because Gary Oldman fucking disappears.
yeah,
The ones that always are,
yeah. Gary Oldman doesn't play Gary. You know, like how you can say like, well, Johnny Depp is great, but he's Johnny Depp in
yeah.
the movie, or Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey in a movie. At least to
Or
me.
Keanu Reeves is always Keanu Reeves. It's just
Yeah,
they're
Helena Bohem
playing something
Carter is
different.
Helena Bohem Carter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, a lot of actors, a lot of actors are like that. You know, Jim
Yep.
Carrey's like that. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly.
But then you have Gary motherfucking Oldman, who
I would
Gary
agree
Oldman
with you.
just vanishes. It's and again, the two roles that I always use as a beautiful example of this are Gary Oldman is in Leon the Professional and The Fifth Element.
Uh huh.
Hmm. Yep.
They cannot be wildly different. They're both villains, but hell of a different type of villain.
Yeah, you cannot look at those two characters and go, that's the same actor. And then you add in those with
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon,
Mhm.
and you're going, okay, what the fuck is this wizardry?
And then my favorite,
Tiptoes?
no, not Tiptoes, Dracula.
I'm glad that you know what Tiptoes is.
I do know what Tiptoes is, but no, not Tiptoes.
Tiptoes is such a fucking weird movie.
You cannot make that level offensive anymore. Um, that's a special time. No.
The best
Uh,
is just how fucking weird the ending of Tiptoes was. For those of you who don't know what Tiptoes is, Tiptoes is a movie about midgets.
not played by midgets.
And
Oh no.
the main midget is not played by a midget.
Scary old man.
It's Gary Oldman.
Oh wait, yeah, I saw I think it was a Djibouti dubs about it, where he's on his knees the whole time, isn't he?
Yep.
Mhm.
And what makes it even better is he's as the main midget. So there's a few actors that you think of when you think midgets in Hollywood. All of them are in this movie. None of them are the main character. Peter Dinklage is his French communist man whore best friend. I'm not joking. That's his character. Um, let's see, what was the? I'm blanking on the English one. The is
Warwick
ridiculous.
Davies.
Yes, Warwick Davies is in the movie as just a side character that
Oh
appears in
no.
like the background of a scene, and that's it. So
Yeah,
they
and
cast a bunch of actual midgets for this movie. Not a single midget got the lead role. Gary Oldman did.
Ah. And then they called it Tiptoes.
Yep. And then the ending is one of the weirdest fucking endings ever. Because you think you know where the ending's going. And then you think that they're going to fake you out. Then you realize that the fake out was you thinking that they're going to fake you out. They're going whole hog, bitch. And it's just out of nowhere. Exactly what seems like might happen in a scene happens in a scene when you're going, there's no way they're going to do this. There's no way they're going to do this. Oh my god, they're doing it.
Yeah, it's your classic Hollywood bullshit going on now.
It is fantastically weird. If you have
Yeah.
never seen Tiptoes and you want to see one of the weirdest movies, see Tiptoes. It's not a good movie. It is painfully we're trying to get an Oscar.
Did they get an Oscar?
No, they failed. They failed
No.
so hard.
But it is paced like they're trying to get an Oscar. It is clear they're trying to get an Oscar. It is clear everything that they're doing is, yeah, this is weird, but think of the Oscar, man. Think of the Oscar. And then they didn't.
Oh man, if only they thought of the Oscar a little bit more. Perhaps they would have attained such a feat.
I don't even think they got nominated or anything. But it was,
Oh, that's even worse.
yeah, it was just so clear that it was, think of the Oscar, man. Think of the Oscar. And then not nominated. Everyone's going, the fuck did we just see?
I
Is
mean,
that just Gary Oldman on his knees the entire movie? Did it end with Gary Oldman making out with his brother's ex-wife?
yep. And I think it was implied that they
They fucked.
Yep.
They knocked their normal boots and little boots together.
Okay, since we already
Oh god.
exposed that part, yeah, the whole plot of the fucking movie was the wife was scared that her child would have dwarfism, and they go through this whole thing, and then all of a sudden at the end she fucks her brother's, she fucks Gary Oldman on his knees,
Yep.
and it's look. This is where we get into this, like, oh, is it art? I, I don't know, dude. I understand that there's concepts that you can um jump into and think about, and you can have, but the moment that you're expecting me to look at these things and have any sort of relevance to it, like, that's where you lose me. I hate to say it, like, I'm sorry, this is just a ridiculous thing. And the fact that they sat there and, oh, well, you know what?
This is gonna be our Oscar movie.
Yeah, and in the terms of somebody who has inspired me in terms of at least my comedic take, the premise of this movie, I would say, it stinks.
Nice. I was half expecting comedy gobbledygook.
Well, I could have gone with comedy gobbledygook, but as much as I love Norm, it was a toss up, But I think John Lovett's uh, critique was more fitting.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, movie's just fucking weird. It is gloriously weird. Go see it if you haven't. Give it a go. Enjoy the weirdness for the first time. Be confused. Think, oh my god, no, 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 please no. And just be horrified by the end. It'll be a fun time. But sounds like we've kind of wound down. Would you guys agree?
A little bit. I think we're mellowing out.
Shall we do parting words?
Sure.
Who wants to go first?
Well, Sora should go first.
Okay. Richard poses a question. What if you fucked your new boss's wife before he married her? Well, I think that's fair game. Well, it depends. Were they affianced already? Because
I
then
was
that
about to
would
ask, how
cause
far
issues.
before they married?
If
Wait,
they were
what?
they were
Hold
in
on,
the
hold on, hold
talking
on.
stage, I think
Hold-
that's fair game.
No,
Are
no,
we
no.
talking like you guys met back years ago and you slept with her back then? Or are you talking about it's 20 minutes before the wedding and she says, "Come on, I have somewhere to be"?
There's a broom closet calling our names. But that I would that's a little tacky. I wouldn't
Hold
do
on.
that.
Well,
But
I
if
don't.
it's prior,
Hold on.
like
Wait, wait,
way
wait, wait, wait,
power,
wait, wait, wait,
that's
wait,
fine.
wait. I don't even see. I don't even see this question. Where's this question?
He says no, a few years before. Then that's fine.
As long
I
as they
think,
weren't together at that time.
yeah, I think because the problem is, I mean, if they were already together, then I would say that could cause a lot of issues in your workplace environment if it ever came to light. But prior
Yeah,
to that,
probably
it's
want to
fair
find a
game.
different
You know
job.
what? I don't see the
Yeah.
question, but it sounds hedonistic, and I think you both deserve uh penalties. Seek Christ, you heathens.
Well, like I said, if it's
No,
before they ever met,
no.
how the fuck are you supposed to know who your boss is going to marry in 6 years?
Exactly. When you
That's
speak with a
that's
psychic every day.
between you and God. Control yourselves.
God didn't tell me who my boss is going to marry.
Abstinence until marriage, children. That is Adam's way.
Yes. Yes, control yourselves. Look, we are at the end times.
If you have
Now
sex, you
more
will
than ever.
die.
Sweet Lord Almighty, I'm
You
trying
will
to
get
help you.
pregnant, then you
I
die.
am trying to save you. And you know what? You can laugh and laugh, and that's fine. Just all right.
Sorry.
Oh
Here
no.
is Adam's trying to save our souls,
No,
and
I
the rest
did.
of us are like, no.
That's a
This is a weird situation and it's
yeah,
funny.
that was an odd question. I did not expect that, but that's hey, you know, that's my
A good one.
response.
No, this is the kind of question. It's good. It
That's
poses. It's a thinker.
yeah, well, don't think twice, it's all right.
And if
That's a weird
if you
close.
somehow screw it up, just have a good employment lawyer on call.
Oh shit. Um I don't think I don't think Sora had her final thoughts. I think she read a question.
No, my answer was my final thought. So
Oh,
we'll
okay.
use that. I
Oh,
like
there
the
you go.
question. That was a good question.
It was final thoughts about a thought.
That was
Mhm.
an that
You
was a
have to
thought.
decide how I'm spelling that second thought. But
Go
Adam,
right ahead,
you?
Adam.
Oh. Um uh well, you know, Sanguine, it's always uh fun hanging out with you on Fridays. And I'm glad that you and let me hang out with you.
Always fun.
And Sora, it's always a treat chatting with you. It's rare and
Likewise.
few these time and days, but it is fun hanging out with you.
Thank you very
Um,
much. Likewise.
and for the rest of you, chat, I want to thank you everybody for joining. Um, I love you all and God bless.
I was half expecting you to say, and for the rest of you, seek help, then a priest, then help again.
Go to church now. No. No. You know, I really do appreciate having these fun chats. It's uplifting. So, and I just hope that, you know, it brushes off on the people that watch it, even if live or later on down the road. You know, I hope people get chuckles out of us. So
And remember, a castle's not just the fucking wall. You can have a walled city
Yes.
without it being a castle. A castle needs a keep.
yeah, and the only distinction you need to recognize is whether or not you have alligators or crocodiles in your moat.
Why
If
not
you're in
both?
England, both are fucked.
Yeah, have them both.
I want sharks with laser attachments.
Settle down, Dr. Evil. I'll leave off with my standard of if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Now I wake up my mouse and I click the end stream, and it takes a couple moments because this thing is always